Fabiana ma'am. It's actually an honor and a privilege to have you here at the International Council on Human Rights, Peace and Politics. My name is Dawood. I currently studying literature at Ramjas College. I am currently a sophomore and also working as a research supervisor at the International Council on Human Rights and Politics, supervising research for Center for Human Rights, Center for Peace and International Relations, and Center for uh, Politics and Conflict Studies. So, ma'am, it's a pleasure to have you here. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us viewers about yourself?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, good morning to everyone. Good morning to you, Dawood, and to all the listeners that will watch this video soon. It's a great pleasure to be hosted here today because I am really passionate of international relation. Actually, my background is a mix of law and international relation studies, and nowadays I'm a specialist on international affairs working in an Italian company. So yeah, I'm Italian. I come from Sicily, specifically Acireale, and I'm located in Rome. Yeah.
That's lovely. Ma'am, my first question for you would be that do you think that we've done research about you, and we are very intrigued by your virtual gallery in Sicily, and that prompted us to ask you this question: that do you think that art can be a narrative of history, and can be utilized by folks and masses to capture time, to capture spaces, to capture a sense of history for the generations to come?
Oh yes, art has inspired people in all its form, as paintings, as music has. Also, with this new technologies, is inspiring all of us. Me, I personally start with this art gallery. Um, to start talking about Sicily, to start break some stereotypes, because people most of the time are relating Sicily with some mafian topic, so they just related the entire island in just one word, mafia, and it's not this. So I start to break down these stereotypes, telling our tradition, our environment, how many amazing places are available, and the Sicilian tradition culture is really open mind, is a mixed cultural heritage coming from the different colonization that started colonizing the Sicilian territory. So we are really excited on let us other know us and our tradition. So starting from this, I think that art can only have a positive influence to the new generation, but also to the entire society. So everyone have his own fantasy or his own expression, and also trying to understand better what is going on today, starting from a cultural limit to some other topic that can maybe related. Yeah.
Absolutely, ma'am. I was actually reading this one article, and it said that if you want, in the older times, you used to say that if you want to poison a people, poison their wells. But in this day and age, as novelist Ben Okri says, that if you want to poison a people, poison their stories, because stories sway away people. I mean, George Orwell says that, if you want to destroy people, destroy their sense of history, destroy their sense of stories. So my next question to you would be that do you think that this misappropriation of art can actually be a threat to non-traditional security? Do you think that art is basically a way of storytelling. So do you think that if we misappropriate it, it could actually be a threat to the non-traditional security?
Yeah, actually, this happened already because art can be used even by countries. A nation has soft power tools, so you can influence other positively, but also in a bad way. So thinking that art doesn't have limit is also a limit for ourselves, because we have to include that nowadays tools like the AI tools that can generate easier some pictures and image can offend others, can I don't know, damage some people's life. Like, very famous people can be involved in some scandals that never happened. So we have to be ethic in the use of AI ethic in the use of art expression, and this is involving it's all when it's different forms, as I said before, even the ballet, even the songs, even the paintings have to everything have to be ethic and respecting other cultures and respecting other people's private life. That's really extreme.
Yeah. That's lovely. That's lovely. But I was also wondering that how did you get interested in art and these paintings, everything? Since your background is diplomacy, it's international relations, and one would think that these two things are completely poles apart. So how did you get interested in art?
Oh, it's a family affair, actually. Yeah, my father was an artist. He was a painter for hobbies, and I was always enchanted by his hobbies. And since when I was a kid, I was painting, I was handcrafting object related also, and most of the time with the Sicilian tradition. So some specific sculpture in wood. So slowly, by the time I extend my interests that nowadays are mostly oriented on the web, because I don't know, based on my available time between working and study. So now I feel really attracted by this new way of express myself, and I most of the time use other tool to find a better way to customize what I have in my head. So yeah, it's something that I really have in my family. Some of this inspiration coming from my father. Yeah.
That's lovely. And I also wanted to ask you because you're from Italy, as you mentioned, much of the awareness about Italy in India comes from Miss Sonia Gandhi. Miss Sonia Gandhi was actually she's wife of Rajiv Gandhi, who served as a prime minister in India back in the 1980s, and now she is the leader of one of the biggest political parties, which is Indian National Congress. So much of our awareness comes from Miss Sonia Gandhi and her affiliation with Italy. And I really wanted to ask you, and since a lot of people are oblivious of Italy in terms of diplomacy, in terms of international relations, how do you view Italy in terms of diplomacy and in terms of international relations? And what do you think are the possible strategies that Italy could adopt from other countries, other nations, to strengthen its bilateral ties, to advance its interest in the diplomatic global world? Yeah.
Oh yeah, now I can see a lot of people interested not just only on geopolitical facts, but they are really careful on having some trustful information. And this is, I think, the main fuel that is going to feed who want to have trustful information, who want to have an experience also in the international relations. Universities nowadays are ready to promote and involving the young generation in geopolitics. But actually, what I saw during these last years and participating to other international forum, I saw that other countries are mostly inspiring Italy because there are other projects that are really easy accessible for who want to have an experience as a self-funded or also a fully funded. It's a first experience that push you to go over your boundaries. And nowadays in Italy, if you want to have a diplomatic or international relation activity, you gotta pass a test, a national test to be a diplomat. Is really hard. It's just few available position open yearly, like 10, 12, maximum 15. And available places, but other people find other alternatives that are really are careful on international relation topics. So these are mostly related with the UN activity, but also with the European Union. I also appreciate how much this is inspiring us at every ages, because even who is no more a student like at university, but who is a young professional is still appreciating these new possibilities. This because now our world is completely interconnected, and we have an easy use, access to information, interaction. Now we are talking from New Delhi to Rome easily. So it's really amazing how we doesn't have no more boundaries and limits. So yeah, I think it's a new evolving moment that is going to create a new vision for the international relations.
Absolutely. That's a really, really profound insight. Ma'am, I also wanted to ask you that in today's contemporary world, we are seeing that a lot of countries are relying on sports and sports diplomacy to advance their diplomatic interest. Like a lot of countries, what they do is that in order to digress and in order to overshadow their human rights crimes, they basically hold these sports conferences, they hold these sports seminars and project their country in a certain light, basically whitewash their crimes. So I wanted to ask you that what do you think is the role of sports diplomacy in the global arena of diplomacy? And what about countries who probably don't spend much investment on sports? So yeah, if you could shed some light on that.
Well, of course, sport has a extreme impactful impact on people's life. Uh, this help people to have a conscious knowledge on what is necessary for a society, and respect is the main things that a society need. Our government, actually Italy, the entire government is promoting sport in all of its way, because it's part of our tradition, also participating to international challenges or uh, training activities. So it's part of our cultural activity. And I see that this is influencing positively even other countries to have these sportive exchanges. So I think that we are already mature enough on this international relations activity based on sport and spreading what is good about sport. I think also that it's another aspect related with sport, because we are not ready yet on preparing the new generation that sport suddenly has another side, another truth and sad side of is soul, not for the sports in itself, but supporters sometimes use sport just to relieve their frustration, just to spread hate. And based on my experience is more than 16 years that I'm going to all the many Italians school from different level and grades, like from primary school to high school and university, to advise people to use sport as a moment of socialization, a moment just to achieve some values that are joy, family, some that can create an amazing experience just to even support your team. But other time it's a failure, and specifically this week in Italy it was a terrible supporters fights that was simulating actually local war. In the north of Italy, it was two supporters team. We are talking about more than 100 people that were fighting between themselves with knife, with belts, with the rural tools and weapon, just because in the name of sport. This is not sport. So I think that our institutions, all the people that are practicing the pure sport, they are promoting, they're advising people to just keep sport in the purest way, version it can be. But this is the other side of sport. It's people that have just personal interest on spreading hate. And yeah, I hope that this type of hate can stop, because we are going farthest, but this still maintain in a world that is already affected by a lot of violence.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. Fabiana, ma'am, I was actually watching this one interview of this member of parliament from India, and her name is Mahua Moitra, and she says that to bring positive change in a country, we really need to tap into our youth because they will be the agents of change. So I really wanted to ask you, what do you think is the role of youth in Italy to deal with these security issues and to bring peace and to bring prosperity to the country?
I really hope that family will be all together. It's, of course, important that institution will guide us, will give us a pathway, will propose the alternative, will lead us on the education and the easy access to the world and the job opportunity. But families have to be the main responsible for our personal growth. So I think the new generation can do the best by themselves because differently from the past, we have a lot of information available. So it's really easy to understand what is good and what is not nowadays. But first of all, as art is doing, as sport is doing, you can have other opportunity to learn more from the world, learn from the society. So respect, as I said before, is the key to let people co-work together, to just co-living together without violence or without any type of prejudice. And I think that nowadays, maybe through the pandemic, the new generation is really sensitive about many topics because they didn't have the opportunity to spend time neither to play in the garden or to go around to play with a ball because they suffer a lot close in the house. So they are maybe more mature than other adults. And this can be a new vibes. And I really hope that the world will be a better place for real.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also wanted to ask you a question. It's related to the earlier question, which was about sports diplomacy, that food plays an important role in harnessing a country's soft power. I mean, we have all really wanted to go to France for the longest time because we saw the idea of croissant, and then everybody wanted to go to France and have croissants. And then we saw the idea of sushi coming up, and then everybody was sort of attracted towards Japanese culture or the steak and beer in America. So I really wanted, and since Italian cuisine is so rich, it's just so rich in its culture. So I really wanted to ask you that how could Italy instrumentalize its local food, its local cuisine to attract global attention, and by doing that, subsequently strengthen its diplomatic ties and advance its diplomatic interests.
Well, I think this cuisine topic is one of the Italian soft power
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
Italian cuisine is known, I don't say all over the world, but I think many people knows pizza. So
Yeah,
pizza and pasta, they are really well known. And yeah, I think promoting our cultural food, traditional food is really important to even here stop stereotypes because we don't eat pizza every day. We don't eat pasta every day because people think this even in a funny way. But also, at the same time, it's really important, even for Italians, to appreciate other people' cultural and tradition cuisine. And this multicultural society we have nowadays, it's amazing because in Italy, you can now easily find other opportunity to find another cuisine like Persian cuisine, Japanese or Chinese or Indian. So it's amazing. And I see that people are really, really open-minded than in the past. In the past, people didn't accept to try or test other types of cuisine, but nowadays it's really a lot of people that are even cooking in the house in another cuisine. So I think that a part of our personal interest. Even the foreign affairs, the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs is promoting a lot, even the Italian local cuisine and recipe. They open the embassies all over the world. They are promoting, I don't know, some specific days where they open the embassy and they open it to everybody who want to visit the embassy to visit, to discover some news. related to Italian culture. So I really suggest people to connect with the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs to visit what they are promoting all over the world. And this is really interesting because most of the time you can find even some opportunity and even for studies in Italy too.
Yeah, absolutely. And that can, I mean, that sort of um, prompts me to ask my next question, and that was about like academics in Italy, because as far as my knowledge is concerned, I'm really interested in history and art history, and I grew up watching these videos on YouTube about these amazing lavish palaces with frescoes and graffitis, and it's just so rich in art history and so rich in culture. So how do you think that factor of academics could come into play in terms of attracting global attention and attracting international students to come there to study, and not only just study in a conventional way of reading books and giving exams, but actually going to these sites and understanding Italian culture, understanding the whole idea of Renaissance, understanding that how it's like the cradle of European civilization.
Yeah, nowadays it's a lot of exchange opportunities, starting from the high school to the university. It's amazing seeing that a lot of people choose to come to Italy because, first of all, arriving in Europe, it's easy to go visit even other country, France, Belgium, Spain, Greece. It's really easy. So this can be a starting point from your life. If you want to start from Italy, you will have the opportunity to have a particular environment. We have, of course, mountain, we have small islands and volcanic islands to visit. We have a lot of lake, but we also have another architectural environment. So it's the possibility of who want to study ancient history to discover the Roman Empire, to discover some ruins that are still protected by the UNESCO site. So it's amazing to discover what is still available nowadays from the past, from centuries and centuries ago. Having opportunity to study in Italy has no limits nowadays. It's a safe countries as I can promote, and I hope that really during these years, that is also the Jubilee year, many students will have the opportunity to come study here because it's a moment that will repeat every 25 years. It's based on the Catholic Church, and in Rome will come a lot of pilgrims. So it's a moment where you can have the opportunity to visit some places that are just closed during the years because they are keep maintained. But coming in Italy, it's a lot of can show you other perspective even related to tourism, because you can have a tourism just based on vacation, but also tourism based on discovering, I don't know, some arts that nowadays you can find even in the street or outside of the church. So yeah, I can really promote it for real.
Absolutely, I agree. And I mean that brings to me to my last question, and that was about like the art gallery again that you started, which is called Vita da Siciliana. Pardon my Italian if I'm getting it wrong, but I really wanted to ask you what were the challenges and problems that you faced in terms of creating this, but again sustaining it in terms of collecting art, in terms of sort of representing it, projecting it, because it is really not an easy task when you have, I mean, arts is not sort of congested at one place, it's scattered, and sort of collecting it and then projecting it in a persuasive manner becomes a huge task. So how did you cope up with those problems and challenges?
Oh yeah, this I started this project more than 2 years and a half ago, because now it's almost 2 years that the gallery is available. For me, was the first time building a virtual space by myself. I never did it before, so this was maybe the first physical challenge. The other challenge was what to communicate to others. I want to communicate some tradition, I want to communicate some environment, or I want to communicate just abstract things. I just mix all of these things, and this requires me almost 1 year because I decide to follow a specific pathways. I start from decolonization. In this virtual gallery, it's a corner dedicated to decolonization based on my vision. So I was imagining Arabics, Vikings all together discussing on who can conquest one side of Sicily, respect another side. So that was my personal imagination. But I also dedicate a lot to people. If you have the opportunity to visit the gallery, I dedicate a lot of pictures for people because they are my main inspiration. Traditional family activities. This what inspired me so much. So for me, that was not a limit, but was just a motivation on try to communicate as best was my childhood. So try to tell others what was the main activity I was doing even with my family, something that maybe can be lost during these years because not many people are mostly no more involved in family tradition and particular in agricultural activities. So there I put even this. The challenges also is social because people think that everything is for paying. This is a free virtual art gallery. My intention was this from the beginning. I say I don't want that people pay for this. For me, this is a gift. I want that people have an access knowing on what's Sicily treasure, what's our Sicilian, because the name is Vita da Siciliani means a Sicilian life. So, what's expecting coming in Sicily? And yeah, this three limit basically was my challenges, but I think that this was my personal best gift. I did it for myself. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I feel like it becomes even more important in today's world where a lot of artifacts are at other countries. I mean, the indigenous artifacts are at other countries, British Museum and other countries around the world. I mean, Benin bronzes that were decorated to sort of decorated for the Temple of Athena are now not in Italy. And I mean, I was reading this one, another study that said that about 85%, and it's by the American Institute, Archaeological Institute of America, and it says that about 85 to 19% artifacts don't have a documented provenance, means that they do not have a record of ownership and record of origin. So I feel like the idea of these virtual galleries, virtual art galleries becomes even more significant. So thank you so much. I'd quickly like to approach to our rapid fire round. And it's going to be a fun round. There's just 5 questions. So yeah, my first question for you is, what's the weirdest food combination that Italians secretly love that they don't tell about to anybody?
Sorry, I didn't understand. Between Italy
Like
and
the weirdest food combination that Italians secretly love and they don't tell it to anybody else.
okay. Oh, I don't know. We are now experimenting everything, even with coffee. It's some meat dishes with coffee. I actually don't know how to prepare it, but I think that's this type of limit with coffee that now they are really challenging us and inspiring us with using traditional ingredients. Yeah.
Absolutely. And can you share an unforgettable story about a unique festival or celebration that just celebrated in Italy, and then everybody should know about that festival, that celebration?
Oh yeah, the Biennale di Venezia is every year is this festival in Venice that I really suggest to visit. It's mostly modern art, but it's really important to be inspired because different artists from the whole world come to expose their creation, and it's amazing because let you be really reflexive. They are really inspiring us to think in another way, and modern art now is really 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 particular, so I really suggest to go to Venice Festival. Yeah, it's lots of fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's amazing. And what is a local Italian craft or a local Italian product that foreigners fall in love when they visit Italy?
Maybe ties. I want to
Yeah,
say ties.
yeah,
Italy is a fashion icon brand also, so I think people are really inspired by dress clothes and ties, Italian ties, I really appreciate. Of course, for just part of the society. Others, I think, are more inspired of, I don't know, statues, but it's complicated to have a statues with you, so maybe a ties is more affordable.
Maybe they could take small statues in form of souvenirs.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, what is the major stereotype about Italians that doesn't hold true? That isn't true.
sorry.
The major stereotype about Italians, a major notion about Italians that isn't true.
Oh yeah, that we always, I said before that we are always eating pasta and pizza. They every times I was going around saying I'm Italian, they will say this, you're always eating pizza for real. But this is a funny version. The other version, as I say before, based on South people from the South, so Sicily, Calabria, Campania. Actually, when you are saying that you are from the south of Italy, they're related only with mafia. So I really hope that these stereotypes they will be destroyed because it's terrible to be related with this criminals activity. So yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And my last rapid fire question is that what's a typical Italian tradition that no one really knows about except the Italians?
I think two things. The first of all, during weddings, I realized that other country doesn't do this. We throw after the celebration, that can be civil or religion, we throw rice on the couple. So we throw rice on the couple, of course, not cooked rice. We throw on the couple as a blessing, but also, we are a lot of superstitious in Italy. So we have thousands of rituals to prevent some some I don't know negatively influence. So we believe that spicy pepper can bring us luck. So we have spicy pepper fake or real almost everywhere in the wallet, in the car, in the house. So yeah, we believe these things.
Yeah, and in the Hindu cultures and in the Indian tradition as well, rice is sort of thrown as a part of the tradition. Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sort of prompts me to think about these parallels drawn between two countries that makes them even closer subconsciously, even when they are not closer literally in terms of the distance. That really connects us. Thank you so much for speaking to us, ma'am. It was an honor having you as a guest at the Global Ambassador Program at the International Council on Human Rights, Peace and Politics. And we wish you all the best for your future endeavors. And indeed, you're doing amazing and keep up the good work. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you too. I really appreciate this moment. I really hope that my thought about Italy was inspiring for others. Thank you so much for the opportunity again.